Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So excited. It is the first day of October and October reading starts. It is my favorite month aside from September because September is my birthday month, but it's one of my favorite months in the year as it is for many of you, and I'm just going to delight in this TBR that I'm about to share with you. So welcome to my October TBR. Now, these are a lot of books. I have about 20, maybe 22 books on this TBR. I know I'm not going to get to all of these. I'm not trying to get to all of these. There are some for sure that I want to read. I have some books that I might get to, but I'm okay if I don't. I could leave them for next year. But like I said, there are some that I really want to get to. Also, I don't usually create TBRs when there are readathons involved. A lot of readathons or a long readathon, I like to create sort of like a base, but usually I don't create TBRs. Now, October is something different because it is such a special month that I want to plan out my reading, and also I am participating in 3 readathons. There are so many readathons in October that it's hard to choose from. So many of the booktubers that I follow and that I talk to or comment with or chat with every now and then have readathons going on. Unfortunately, I cannot participate in all of them. I wish I could. I have tried before, but it just burns me out. So I chose the readathons that I feel will be a little bit more chill, and then the readathons that like coincide with each other and are shorter readathons as opposed to month-long or even week-long readathons. With that being said, let's start looking at the books that I want to read. Notice how I have like just a wide space that I'm showing you here. You can't actually see it, obviously, but it's all here. So like I said, I'm participating in 3 readathons. The first one is the Bukathon. I think that's the name of it. I could be completely wrong, but it is a readathon that's being hosted by 3 members of the community. I know for sure one of them is Gwen. The other 2 I'm not very familiar with, even though I'm going to start getting familiarized with them because I'm going to start watching their videos, but I have not yet. I was just trying to create my TBR and I knew that Gwen was one of the hosts, so I just got my prompts from her. I will link the other 2 hosts down below though, because I do want to give them some credit. Just right now, I can't remember who they are. So the Bukathon is a readathon that is just focused on a spooky middle grade readathon. And one of my goals this month was, or just even for the fall, was to read more middle grade horror or middle grade spooky books. So I was happy to see that this readathon was gonna be a thing this year. I have 4 books here and then the group books, so a total of 5 books. Obviously, I'm not gonna be able to read all that for the 1 week. I mean, maybe, but the group read or the buddy read is going to be The Haunting of Adeline. I forget the whole name, but I'll put the cover on here. And I've had this on my TBR since last year and I never got to it and I was dying to. So when I saw that this was the group read, it even like made me want to participate even more. So this is a group read. I will be getting to this one. And then we have 3 prompts, which is perfect. One of the prompts is to read a book with ghosts or ghouls in the title, and for that I chose Ghost and Bone by Andrew Prentice. I've had this on my TBR for a couple years already, or maybe I bought this book last year, I can't remember, but this cover is so cool. And in the back it says, "Welcome to the City of Ghosts." Oscar Grimstone has always felt like an outsider. His classmates make fun of his all-black clothes and pasty skin, but now strange things have begun to happen that Oscar can't explain, and he's starting to feel cursed too. Then Oscar discovers something truly startling. Even though he is very much alive, he can turn into a ghost. So I'm not going to read any more from there. This cover is just amazing. Another one of the prompts is to read a book that it's set on Halloween or during Halloween, and for that I picked The Creep Over. No trick-or-treating, super scary, super special. A story so scary it broke the creepometer. If you guys have never heard of the Creep Over series, I encourage you to check them out, but it is a series and I own a bunch of the books, but I know this one has like pumpkins and spooky thing and there's like a seance there, and the back says, "What's being kept hidden in Heaton's corners?" City girl Ashley McDowell is beginning to adjust to her new life in a small farm town when she starts making plans for Halloween. She is shocked to find that no one in Heaton Corners celebrates it. Ashley is determined not to let that stop her, so she convinces her friends to join her and go trick-or-treating for the first time. But Ashley, of course, soon discovers that there's a reason why Heaton Corners doesn't do Halloween. Perfect read for this prompt. Can't wait to jump into this, of course. And then the final prompt is to read a book with a spooky building on the cover. I chose The Clackety by Laura Senf. This is a book that I saw the author herself share on Twitter, and the cover just really appealed to me and called out to me, and I ran over to Amazon and I bought it, especially after reading the synopsis. I can't wait to jump into this. I bought this a couple months ago in preparation for fall, and it's here, and I can't wait to read this. It says, Evie Von Rath lives in Blight Harbor, the 7th most haunted town in America, with her aunt Desdemona, what a name, the local paranormal expert. Des has only one rule: stay out of the abandoned slaughterhouse at the edge of town. But when Des goes missing, Evie has no choice but to enter the ominous building. And that's all I want to read, so I cannot wait to start this one. Those are the 4 books that I have planned. I did say I had 5, but I just sort of pushed that one out of the way because I had another one for the spooky building until realizing that this book had a spooky building. Because if not, I would have just transferred this over to my TBR for the rest of the month, because this is one of the books that I really want to read. But I just scrapped the other book last minute, and so this one is taking its place. Sometimes you just don't notice things on the cover until after. I don't know, at least for me that happens. All right, and then the next 2 readathons that I am participating in sort of like fall on the same days. The Horrorathon, which is a 24-hour readathon, and that one's going on October 28th, obviously till October 29th. But that same weekend that the 24 hours is happening is also Weekendween, which is Gabby and Olivia's little series of Halloween readathons, and super excited to participate in this one. This one goes from Friday the 28th till Monday the 31st. So these are the books that I want to read for that readathon. I have a little stack here, so this is not only going to be for the 24-hour readathon, but it's also going to be for the Weekendween. They're short. I picked very short books for this, so hopefully this allows me to be more successful with these 2 readathons. For the Horrorathon, there is going to be a group read, which it's Autumn Crow. For this round, this has been a book that has been on my TBR for, I feel like, a few years already. It is written by Cameron Chaney. He is known as Library Macabre here on YouTube, and I adore him. And I feel bad that I haven't read this one yet. I'm dying to read it, and finally it's happening. It's very short. Every night is Halloween in Autumn Crow. It's what it says up here. So I'm excited to finally jump into this one. And then the rest of these are going to be for Weekendween, but I'm going to try to read as much as possible for the 24-hour readathon. So I'm using all these books for both readathons. One of the prompts for Weekendween is to read a book with a monster in it or on the cover. And for that, I chose Dark Harvest. I feel like this fall is going to be the fall where I'm going to finally read all the Halloween and October books that I've been dying to read in years past. Because this, you have probably seen in many fall TBRs, many October TBRs, and I've never read it. So this is going to be the year. This is a must. I think this will probably be the first book that I read, if not the second book, because I really want to get to the group one for that weekend. It's Halloween of 1963. They call him the October Boy, or Old Hacksaw Face, or Sawtooth Jack. Whatever the name, everybody in this small Midwestern town knows who he is and how he rises from the cornfields every Halloween, a bloody butcher knife in his hand, and makes his way toward town where gangs of teenage boys eagerly await their chance to confront the legendary nightmare. I don't want to read more. I'm so ecstatic to finally be reading this, and it's gonna happen this year. I am hoping to vlog, so you will see me reading this finally. It's going to happen.
I don't know why I had to be so dramatic there.
The next prompt for Weekendween is to read either horror graphic novels or listen to a spooky audiobook. I'm not going to do the audiobook because I don't think I can find audiobooks for any one of these books, so I'm going to go with horror graphic novels. And I have a few choices here. I might read them all, and I might use the Horrorathon to read all of these, but literally these are in some covers, so I'm sorry for the thing, but it's literally like a pamphlet. But this is Betty Page, and it is a Halloween special graphic novel issue, or comic issue rather. And then I also have, these are from Dynamite. And then I also have another one of the Halloween specials, which is Army of Darkness, another little like pamphlet type of comic. And then I also have Graveyard Slaughter Video Hell, and it's this little like magazine graphic novel, and it's all in black and white. I don't really know what this is about. I guess it has to do with like a video store because it says be kind, rewind, or die. There is an intro or a foreword by Paul Tremblay in it. So excited to finally be reading that. I forgot where I got this from. I don't know if it was Nightworms or I think it was a Nightworms package, but I could be wrong. So for these Weekendweens or Halloween themed readathons that Olivia and Gabby host, they usually have a prompt that's to read a book in the dark or at nighttime. I cannot read physical books in the dark, and even if I do read at night, I need like shit ton of lights just to keep the atmosphere with which this prompt is supposed to be taken with. Did that make sense? I'm going to be reading off my Kindle, so like in the dark but off my Kindle, and I have decided to read Vanilla by Mona Kabani. I love Mona Kabani. I follow her on Instagram and I love watching her reels, and I really want to support her. She just recently came out with a book. It's called For You, that I pre-ordered, and I have it signed and personalized here. And then I saw her talk about this book, which was an earlier work of hers, Vanilla. And so it's on Kindle Unlimited, and I was just, again, wanting to support her. So I've had this sitting for a little bit on my Kindle, and I'm so happy to finally be reading it, especially after reading the synopsis of it. It just sounds so good. Basically, there are, you know what, I'm gonna read it to you guys as I have been with everything else, because I actually have the synopsis open. I was teetering between two books, but when I read the synopsis to Vanilla, I was like, okay, this is gonna be the book that I'm gonna read. It sits at 269 pages, so it is short, but it says, the cure for the sick is in the devil's blood. He invests this magic in the children. One child's life saved in exchange for a sacrifice, and parents are eager to sacrifice. But what happens when the devil comes across a child he cannot find the will to return? A child he wishes to keep. And so goes on the synopsis that we have Vanilla, which is the child that he cannot give up. And according to the synopsis, Vanilla, the little girl, calls him daddy. She dreams of staying with him forever, but then at the end of the synopsis it says, but forever is infeasible. That is until the devil makes his own sacrifice. So super excited to read this. This is my book to read at night or in the dark, and I am giddy to read it. And this cover, it's just so simple and bright, but there's something a little sinister in it that just gets to me. So excited to read this one. Another two books that if I get to find, maybe three, I'm going to add this one in here. Another 2 books or 3 books that I want to incorporate, if I could, maybe in the 24 hours, I'll read one of these, is one of these. So we have Trick or Treat, which is a point horror book. I'm sorry, the reflection from these 2 windows is just insane. Then I have Halloween Night 2. A couple years back, I always talk about this book, but I read Halloween Night and loved it so much. It was my first really look into cheesy Halloween reads or point horror reads or scholastic reads, R.L. Stein reads, whatever you want to call them. And I love that book so much, and I've been meaning to get to book 2 for a while now. This is the year. this is probably one that I really want to get to out of the 3. And then I also have Halloween Party, which is an R.L. Stine Fear Street book. So I'll probably, again, like I said, I'll probably try to read these or sneak them into the 24-hour portion of the readathon that weekend. And then the rest of these books are just books that I want to get to. I don't know where to start with the other books that I have on my TBR. Now that we have the readathons out of the way, I'm losing my voice. Why? Let's start with the 4 that I really want to get to. One of them I should have gotten to in September, but alas, here we are. I'm struggling. The summer months had me really bad, and I know people consider September like fall, but for me it's always been summer because the majority of the damn month is summer. So I try to squeeze in all my summer reads before fall actually starts. I know, I'm silly. But I just couldn't get to this one, which I really want to get to, and that is a Fairy Tale by Stephen King. I should have read this the day it came out. I was in the middle of too many books, and I wanted to finish them because I didn't want to do what I always do, which is to start my 30th book and not finish any of them. So this is a priority for the month of October. As is Swan Song by Robert McCammon. This is a buddy read or a read along that me and my friend Talia are hosting over on Instagram. And it started in September because it is a chunker of a book. I'm going to be listening to the audiobook of this. I think there's an audiobook. At least I hope there's an audiobook of this because it's what I will be sprinkling in as my audiobook for the month. But I can't believe I still haven't read this. A lot of people rave about this book, and I absolutely loved Boy's Life. When I read it, I think it was a couple years ago, I cried. I do have it as a vlog somewhere. I will link it up above if you want to take a look at it, but that book made me cry. People say that this book is even better than that one, so I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited to read this. I have not read the synopsis. I'm not going to. But if you want to know what this book is about, maybe go look it up, or you probably already know because this I feel like is a very beloved and classic book in the community. And then 2 books that I want to get to because they have October in the title and I need to read them. First is Richard Lehman's Night in the Lonesome October. I read a Richard Lehman for summer. Better yet, I started a Richard Lehman in the summer and did not finish it. Not because I wasn't liking it, but I think I've explained in other videos, if not, if it's in a vlog that's coming up, that I'm having a hard time reading physical books. Everything that I have been consuming has been audiobooks, and the physical books that I have started, I have not finished. So all my summer physical reads have been pushed aside because obviously summer is finished, but at least each physical book that I started in the summer have not been finished. So this is going to be my second layman, or my second attempt at layman. Hopefully I could get through it. I don't know if they have an audiobook for this. I hope they do, because the book that I was reading in the summer, which was Island, it did not have an audiobook, because if it did have an audiobook, I would have already finished that book. At least I don't think so. Or maybe I didn't want to use a credit. Why did I say maybe twice? Okay. Night in the Lonesome October. Really want to read this. I've heard that this is one of his best. Every time that I ask somebody or I post something on Instagram about Richard Lehman and I ask which should I read first, people a lot of the times will say this one. So I'm excited for this one. Everything changed for Ed that day in the fall semester when he got a letter from Holly, the girl he loved. Dear Ed, it began, I will always cherish the times we had. Holly was in love with someone else. It was as if his whole world had changed in a second. That night, heartbroken and half mad with despair, Ed couldn't sleep, so he decided to go for a walk. But it's a dark, scary night in the lonesome October, and Ed is not alone. That's all I'm going to read. The synopsis continues, but excited to read this one this October. And of course, we cannot have a TBR without Triana in it, because he's one of my favorite authors, and I bought this off of him when he had the whole chemo for bear situation where his dog needed chemotherapy, and it was very expensive, and his dog is, like for many of us, his life. And so I bought a bunch of his books including this one, The Long Shadows of October. Obviously, October's in the title. I want to read it. And it says, when Joe and Danny take on the job of housekeeping Snowden Manor, they fail to realize they won't be in the house alone. Inside, the walls swarm with a specter made of equal parts ghost, succubus, and witch. And she uses the manse as a prison for souls. Now that October's supermoon is falling over the mountains, she is ready to rise and reclaim her flesh. That's all I'm going to read. It continues, but I don't like to read too much of synopsises, so I'm sorry that I keep doing that, but that's all I want to know. I get the gist, and I just want to give you guys a little bit of what the book is about, because I'm usually like, I want to read this and this and this, and then I never say what the books are about, and I know some of you like to know the synopsis. So that is a must for October. And then I have a few here that, oh, you know what? Let's talk about Leech, because I started Leech in the summer. This was actually a buddy read with my friend Carol, and you know, usual typical Marcella fails at these buddy reads. And so yeah, here I am. I'm only 60 pages into this, but this is a book that I really, really want to finish. This was a physical read again, so I had trouble keeping up with my physical books, but I really want to read this one. I was really loving it. This is a very dense book in the writing, but I feel like it's the perfect book to read in the winter time. But since this is an arc, and this book did come out in September, like a couple weeks ago, so I want to get it read so I could get my review out, and because I was really, really loving it. It's very atmospheric. I have no idea what I'm reading yet. It's a little bit confusing at times because you're following like two places at one time through this one character, so it can get a little confusing, and I haven't gotten to the part that explains this confusion, but Carol loved it so much. I think it's one of her favorite books of the year as well, and I can see why. So I'm hoping to finish this as well for the month of October. I mean, if it bleeds into the winter, I wouldn't be mad, but I really, really want to know what's up with this. That's why I really want to get it read this month, and I think the atmosphere would be perfect for October. Daphne by Josh Malerman just came out this past week, and I'm very surprised at how short this is. I thought it was going to be longer. I don't know anything about this. You guys know I love Josh Malerman. He is one of my favorite authors. I love how like to the point and how short his sentences are and how to the point his writing is. It's what attracts me to his books. And so I don't know much. I don't want to know anything about this. I know that obviously we're following a character by the name of Daphne, and maybe she's not so good. Maybe, I'm not sure. But excited to read this, and I am going to be buddy reading this with my friend Tali. I want to finally finish Salem's Lot. I've talked about this book a lot here on my channel. I've said how much I want to finish it. It's been on recent TBRs. But I was honestly waiting for the fall months to read it. If I don't get to finish it or get to it for the month of October, I am going to read it for November. I started this book years ago, 3 years ago to be exact, and I got so mad by this point that I just dropped the book and never continued. But I know this is a very beloved book by him. Many people love it and always talk about it, and I was loving the atmosphere in it, so I do want to continue this one. But again, if I don't get to it in October, it will roll over to November, but I promise that past November, it will not go. Okay, the next two books I really want to get to. If I don't, I mean, it's okay. One of them, I should not have an excuse, and maybe if I finish the majority of the stuff for the weekend of Halloween, if this still hasn't been read by then, maybe I could sneak it in there because it is short stories. But it is The Cruelty of Autumn by Brian Keene. This is a special edition. I actually bought this off of eBay. Somebody was selling it, and when I went to do a research of where this had come from, or what this was part of, I came up with this whole like series or collection of books written by Brian Keene that are short stories. And not only Brian Keene, I think there were other authors as well. I still need to look more into it, but either way, when I was searching through eBay at like books and stuff, this cover popped up. I saw this cover and then I saw Brian Keene, and I was like, please and thank you. So I should be able to get to this one, being that it's short stories and it's short as it is. So I don't know, I really want to get to. And I also want to read The Traveling Vampire Show by Richard Lehman, another Lehman book. Maybe I'll do like a Lehman themed reading vlog with these two books that I have on my TBR. Excuse me. But yeah, I want to read this one. I don't know, I'm in the mood for vampires, fall, vampires, dark, gloomy, spooky. I don't know, but I know that they do have the audiobook to this one, so this could be a very big possibility as far as getting to the book actually goes. These two that I have here, I don't even know if I should mention them. They, if I get to them, fine. If I don't, fine. If I'm in the mood for them, okay. If I'm not in the mood for them, even better, or okay. What am I saying? I actually found these at an outlet mall, one of the bookstores that are in those outlet malls. I think it's called Book Warehouse. And you find books in there that, I mean, you find well-known books, but then you also find I mean, that place is full of books that you're like, what is this? Where did this come from? Like unheard of books, basically. And they had these two books, and I thought they were so cute and so appropriate for the fall season. They're actually cozy mysteries. And I don't know, I've been wanting to read more cozy mysteries. It's kind of weird because I haven't really been much on YouTube until the past couple of days. It's been really hard for me to get on socials. I go on Instagram every day. Even when I'm battling these like social anxieties or social overwhelming situations, I try to go there because it is my main platform, and sometimes it's really hard for me to get on. When I'm finding myself in those situations, YouTube is like not even in the picture. I can't mentally. But I just started going on recently, and I was scrolling through my subscription feed, and I saw that Kayla, Books and Lala, had posted a video about reading more cozy mysteries. I don't know if she did a video prior to this where she reads other cozy mysteries. I haven't really caught up, which made me think, like, I wonder if like when people get like this feeling to read stuff, you know, like cozy mysteries, I never read them. I guess we should talk about the book, Wicked Witch Murder and Trick or Deadly Treat. I just saw the covers and I'm like, oh my gosh, it would be so cool to incorporate. I wonder if it's something that's in the air. Am I making sense? Like where everybody is feeling the same way? Because I tend to see that often. Like if I want to read something that I just never read, all of a sudden, I don't know if it's just the fact that I've become aware of this and I see it more, or if it's just that everybody is feeling that same way. Did I make sense with that? I know sometimes, most of the times, I don't make sense, but I just found it funny that she's talking about mysteries. I know, as a matter of fact, oh my gosh, I just realized something. I am so sorry, I'm all over the place, but I know also there's this new book club that I believe Lauren is one of the book club's hosts, where it's all about reading cozy mysteries. Please hold. Yes, oh my god. Oh, thank god I remembered this before closing out this video, because I know I want to participate in this just because I have these two books, and I don't know, I've been in the mood for the cozy lately. So it's three hosts. We have Lauren. We also have Rachel. I don't follow her, so I'm going to check her out afterwards. And also Caitlin, another person that I don't follow, but I love this because you get to meet so many other people in the community. But they have the Cozy Hollow Book Club, and their first book is going to be In the Company of Witches. So I really want to try to get to this book, and let's see, because I almost forgot about it. Wow, you guys, it's been rough, but this is another one that I'm hoping to get to. But again, going back to these two, if I get to them, fine. If I don't, I don't. It's okay. This whole entire section was crazy and ridiculous and so all over the place, and I really apologize for that. I know I'm really hard on myself, and when I go edit this video, I'm going to get so mad at this part that it's okay. The thing with cozy mysteries is that they're such fast reads sometimes that I might be able to sneak these in. I might not, because I do have these bricks here as well. So that is it. Those are all the books that I would love to get to in the month of October. Let's see at the end of the month how many of these I can read when we talk about my October wrap up. I could come on here and say I didn't read any of the books except maybe Swan Song because it is a group read, a read along that I'm hosting. But we'll see. What do you think? Will I get to the majority of these, or will I completely read different books for the month of October? Let's see what you guys think. Also, let me know what you will be reading in the month of October. Do you love October as much as I do, and all the coziness and all the reading? There's just something special about October that just seeps in through my skin. And I want to know, do you feel the same way? Let's chat books and all the October goodness in the comment section down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.